Trump has just dropped some bombshell news on the Republicans to get in order. The Senate is taking up multiple rescission packages today to cut more spending, to codify the DOGE checks, and they are in line, guys. This is a new bill that would codify the DOGE cuts, bring in some new reforms to Social Security to bring a massive increase, guys, like never before. We got the receipts, we got the evidence, guys, and as crazy as it is to say, guys, this is a bipartisan bill that has been brought to the Senate, guys, to move this forward. This is happening, and we have the reason why. Trump said the midterms are everything right now. He has instructed multiple red state governors, like Governor Abbott from Texas, to redraw their districts to take up more House seats. He wants to pass more bills. And right now, Governor Abbott just came out and said that they can gain 2 House seats for Trump with redrawing districts. If this happens across the United States, not only can we have a red wave with the GOP, Trump is going to be able to push forward his America First policy. Trump is also betting, guys, this is a big one. Guys, this is huge. Trump is also betting on removing some Democrat officials through the investigations that have just started with people that were in the Obama and Biden administration, guys. We now have evidence. They explicitly targeted Trump. With more Supreme Court rulings today, giving Trump more wins, guys, over exercising his Article 2 powers, over being the president of the United States, holding people accountable, guys. The Trump train is winning. Not only that, 6 agents have been issued suspensions by the U.S. Secret Service for failures connected to last year's attempted assassination on the then presidential candidate Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. Guys, think about it, guys. Everything that we've been voting for, everything that we've been wanting, the promises made, promises kept, we are living in history right now. Finally, accountability. 6 agents have been issued suspensions by the U.S. Secret Services for failures connected to the last year's attempted assassination on our president. Yes, they're coming slowly, but they're actually coming. Trump is so furious, guys, with what he knows now. He's cleaning house big time, because what I'm about to tell you next, guys, take a seat, because Trump is just dropping the hammer on everybody. DHS Kristi Noem said after the Maui fires, under the Biden FEMA, 1 in 6 survivors had to trade sexual favors for basic supplies to survive. Meanwhile, illegal aliens were staying in $300 per night luxury hotels using FEMA dollars. After Hurricane Helene, FEMA ran out of money because millions of those funds were diverted to transport and house illegal aliens. Guys, this is a bombshell that has just been dropped by Trump's people. DHS Kristi Noem. Everybody is furious, guys. Trump is coming in and with the hammer cleaning all this out. 6.2 million people right now are receiving benefits a year that they shouldn't be, but they're receiving Medicaid benefits, and it's bankrupting the program. Trump said not anymore. We are removing the illegals, the able-bodied people from the program, so that people that truly need it can have it, guys. Again, bombshell news today. Trump has just put forth rescission packages. He's also put forth new bills, including a huge change to the Social Security program, codifying the DOGE cuts, codifying the DOGE checks, baby. Yes, you heard me right. Multiple rescission packages are in the Senate as today. Guys, huge breaking news. So much has been found out. We're going to bring you the receipts, guys, because this is what we're here for, to bring you the truth, the breaking news. Want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to everybody who is subscribed and viewing, guys. Thank you so much for your support. We could not do it without you. To those that are not subscribed, please consider joining our family, hitting that subscribe button so that we can serve you every day with the top news, guys. So much is going on, and we are here for it. Want to thank everybody who has given a super chat donation, and those that are members. Remember, we take this money and we donate it to a local charity on the 22nd of every single month. And want to say thank you to everybody. If you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. Guys, this is a big day today. The show today is so huge. Not only are you about to see justice come for Trump when it came to the assassination attempt on his life, not only are we bringing new rescission packages, Social Security changes, accountability for those that use FEMA dollars on illegal aliens instead of giving it to those when the Maui fires or the hurricanes in North Carolina. Guys, all this is dropping today. Big bombshell news. Justice is coming. Check this out.
Confirming today with us in a statement here at Newsmax, quote, "We do not comment on ongoing investigations." When we asked them about the newly discovered criminal investigation into James Comey and John Brennan for the Russian collusion hoax. And oh boy, was it a hoax. Trump also basically confirmed it today by not denying it. And like, why would he deny it? He hates these people, rightfully so.
I think they're very dishonest people. I think they're crooked as hell. And maybe they have to pay a price for that. I believe they are truly bad people and dishonest people.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to ruin everything about this guy's life, and he beat them on it. All right, look, you remember this, right? For years, we heard ranking members of Congress, the intelligence community, and the FBI. Even like they go on TV and they tell us that Donald Trump was colluding with Russia to win the 2016 election, and then they ran with it for his whole first presidency too.
Remember the emails proving that Donald Trump Jr. was willing to collude with Russia? How will we know what really happens when Trump and Putin get together? Maybe every time he said no collusion, like more than 231 times so far, maybe every time he said no collusion, he was telling the truth.
Can you agree that there has been no evidence of collusion, coordination, or conspiracy that has been presented thus far between the Trump campaign and Russia?
No, I don't agree with that at all. I think there's plenty of evidence of collusion or conspiracy in plain sight.
Well, in a recently declassified lessons learned document from CIA Director John Ratcliffe, noted how messed up this investigation actually was. Obviously politically motivated to keep Donald Trump from winning the presidency. And once he was in the presidency, it was designed to hamper his agenda. The report noted, quote, "Review identified multiple procedural anomalies in the preparation of the ICA," which is the Intelligence Community Assessment.
Guys, this right here is in line with what's happening right here. Every single time that now we are catching them. Look, Biden's doctor took the fifth when he asked if he was told to lie about president's health. Every single time they've been lying on President Trump. They've been trying to stop him from putting America first, and it's finally happening, guys. This right here, people being subpoenaed, people testifying before oath, and now we can finally hold them accountable. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, because I'm telling you, with what you're about to see next, it is only the beginning of us actually being able to put some of these people like you are about to see on the screen in jail where they belong because they colluded against a president. They committed treasonous acts and they lied and lied and lied and altered elections like crazy.
Remember how this whole thing came to fruition? Let's just take a walk down memory lane here, okay? So this guy, Christopher Steele, who was a former British MI6 intel officer with a specialty in Russian intel, was hired by Fusion GPS, which is a Washington, D.C. based research firm, they were hired from Perkins Coie, who was the law firm representing the Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democrat National Committee. Basically, this guy worked for Hillary Clinton. Specifically, Mark Elias. That was their main attorney. This chain of people were assigned to put together opposition research on Donald Trump, which, by the way, totally normal for any campaign to do. But what is not normal to do is to use this unvetted opposition research to prosecute that political opponent.
Right there,
Obviously,
guys.
the Clinton machine, super highly influential still, considering she just came off being Secretary of State. And, I don't know, the fact that her husband is the former president, they leveraged their influence. This was a single source report from someone hired by a political campaign to research an opponent, totally unsubstantiated by any evidence whatsoever. They had nada. They did this so they could bolster their case. They then shopped it to a bunch of media networks as a bombshell story, which then all reported on each other's reporting to give the appearance of multiple sources. That created the political narrative that Donald Trump was somehow in bed with Russia. But then they needed a legal angle to further the narrative, hoping to tip the scales in favor of a deeply flawed candidate in Hillary Clinton in 2016. Hillary used her political connections to funnel the same unverified dossier, now taken as gospel by the media, by the way, into the highest levels of the FBI, including into a FISA court to secure a wiretap, which is an old term for, surveillance and spying, for the Trump campaign staffer Carter Page. And not only was this an egregious violation of the procedures to obtain a FISA warrant, but they lied about it and its origin once it was in the court. When this was used in the FISA court to obtain the warrant, it was not noted that the dossier was funded by Hillary Clinton, which seems like a huge legal omission to me.
Guys, again, everything that you're seeing here, guys, Trump is bringing justice to, guys, just like what you're about to see right here. This breaking news that the 6 agents have been issued suspensions by the U.S. Secret Service for failures connected to last year's attempted assassination of the then presidential candidate Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. Everything is coming to the light. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, this is big, big wins, not only for Trump, but also for the American people. That as many times as they lied on Trump, as many times as they colluded, every single one of them is going to be held before Congress, before the courts, to actually be held before the American people for this type of crap, guys. You cannot make this up. When the DHS Kristi Noem said after the Maui fires under the Biden FEMA, 1 in 6 survivors had to trade sexual favors for basic supplies to survive. Meanwhile, illegal aliens were staying in $300 per night luxury hotels using FEMA dollars. We're going to show you this in a moment, guys. But this is the type of stuff where Americans have been screwed over. Americans have been ripped off because the Democrats wanted to choose illegals over Americans, and Trump said no to all of this. Trump has been consistently America first, and what you're about to hear next, guys, is just continuing that we are going to expose everything. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
A key judgment. Yeah, but because this was all a lie and they knew it, they also had 2 other things happening simultaneously just to make sure they could sell the Russian collusion narrative to the American people. Part 2 was also a contracted resource from the same Fusion GPS, this one also working for Hillary Clinton under the guise of lobbying, but would be sold publicly under the narrative that she was there to talk about Russian involvement in the Trump campaign, Natalia Veselnitskaya. She was sent and paid by Fusion GPS, hired by the Clinton campaign, to meet with Don Jr. at the Trump Tower, which was also the campaign headquarters. This was all for theatrics, folks, okay? She was a Russian lawyer, but even the reality, though, even Natalia thought she was sent there to discuss sanctions. And we now know from Don Jr.'s testimony under oath and his text messages that were made public, because he was texting during that meeting. He was like, what the hell am I doing here? He didn't even know, because he had no say on any of the stuff she was talking about anyway. But that didn't stop them from blasting it on the front page to back up the Steele dossier allegations that, Trump had Russian ties. Look, he was meeting with a Russian lawyer at Trump Tower. Right. Which leads to part 3. Simultaneously, in the lead up to the 2016 election, if you recall, Hillary Clinton was being legitimately investigated for having a classified server in her basement, which she did. That's not up for debate. And by the way, she destroyed devices with hammers and BleachBit software, which we also know she did. Never charged for it. Well, I should say, never did any substantial time for it or anything. There's no consequences whatsoever. And the DNC servers also, at the same time, were hacked by Russia because they had basically a Google Doc worth of security on it. So they had to turn the narrative so they didn't look pathetic, okay? The Crossfire Hurricane investigation. This was the investigation into Trump for Russian collusion. And it was unbelievable. This was Ultimately, the insurance policy, because if Hillary Clinton's classified information from her basement server was in fact hacked, which they were worried about, they could say that then, oh, hey, the Russians hacked me at the behest of Donald Trump. Look, I'm innocent. Forget about my server and all the things I did with breaking classification laws. Look, Trump did it. And since you apparently can launch an investigation into anything with no evidence whatsoever, they did into Donald Trump and sold the investigation as the actual conviction even before it was concluded. Oh, look at all these investigations into Donald Trump. Oh, he must be guilty.
Guys, and again, too, you know everything is changing with what I'm about to show you on the screen, guys. This right here, guys, I hope you're sitting down because this will knock your socks off. John Kerry came out and said that Trump was right about the border crisis. People are trying to cover their butts now. Not only is Trump going after Comey, not only is he going after Brennan. Guys, there are so many people that we are seeing on my side from the Obama administration, the Biden administration, that Trump wants to hold everybody accountable because everything that they've done to him in the past 10 years to try and put him, not just keep him out of the race, guys, put his butt in jail, all failed. And everybody is trying to get on Trump's good side. Let me know your thoughts on this, guys, because to me, I'm so irritated with what's going on. But what I love is that we are getting Supreme Court ruling wins. Trump is sending over more rescission packages to the Senate. And this is just layering win after win after win for the American people, just like Trump promised. Because I'm telling you, if this would have happened, if they would have taken his life, guys, our country would never be the same. But for some reason, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Whether you believe in faith or God or not, Trump's life was saved. 6 agents have now been issued suspensions because they have found multiple people that weren't doing their job, and it could have been prevented, and now it's being taken to the next level. Listen to this.
This I want to make so today on the morning show is all deep state, from the Epstein thing, everything, all deep state, and their Pharaoh's army were at war, but the Supreme Court has backed us up in this, have they not, with this ruling? Because I'm telling you, Weissman, the entire MSNBC thing is in the mumble tank on this announcement of the Supreme Court, and on top of Brennan and Comey
let's
being
go.
under investigation. So first, I'll start the Supreme Court. What was actually decided? Why are our enemies in the mumble tank on this thing about the opportunities we have with this ruling, sir?
So back in February, President Trump issued an executive order carrying out what he promised American voters he would do, which is a significant, large-scale reduction in the federal workforce. Right? We have too many federal workers. We have too many people doing jobs that don't matter to the American people. And President Trump did the unthinkable again. He issued an executive order, and he told the Office of Personnel Management and other agencies, Office of Management and Budget, to promptly undertake preparations to initiate large-scale reductions in force, RIFs, consistent with applicable law, right? And so a San Francisco left-wing activist judge appointed by Clinton issued one of her temporary restraining orders on this and said that they can't even prepare to do a workforce reduction consistent with the law, meaning it's just inexplicable. Of course, the Ninth Circuit, which is left-wing, let this activist judge get away with this, and it took several months for the Supreme Court to finally step in, and the Supreme Court did step in, and it was 8-1. You had Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson write an idiotic dissent, and it was so idiotic that even Justice Sonia Sotomayor did not join Justice Jackson's idiotic dissent. Again, that's how bad it was. It's usually dueling idiotic dissents from both of them, but this was too dumb even for Sotomayor. And now the president and his team can move forward with preparing for federal workforce reductions, which is absolute power to do as the chief executive officer under Article 2 of the Constitution. It's also, he also has the statutory power.
You've preached this for a long time, and President Trump went to court. They backed it up. just in a practical matter, can we now go to the FBI and like deconstruct the FBI? Can we go to the CIA and start to deconstruct the CIA? Can we do what Kerry Lake's doing at VOA and take it down to its statutory limits? I mean, can we go into these places that we know are working against the American people and start to take out chunks, whole chunks, and really do deconstruction, not onesies, twosies, where a billet comes open, you just say, hey, I'm gonna keep it open? Because I think that's what the CIA said, they're gonna let go of 1,000 people, but it's over time, as billets come open, they're not gonna fill them. Can we actually go in with this ruling? Can President Trump go in and start to take apart the deep state?
Let's go.
Yes, and they should. The Trump administration should move forward. You're going to get another activist judge issuing another temporary restraining order, which is not temporary at all. It's going to be a preliminary injunction masquerading as or a temporary restraining order. But look, they're going to say this only applies to the preparation phase. When they actually go to do it, there's going to be another temporary restraining order, preliminary injunction. The Trump Justice Department, led by Attorney General Pam Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and Solicitor General John Sauer, they're doing a phenomenal job of taking these things aggressively to the Supreme Court and winning. The Supreme Court is finally starting to act. Like I said, it took 2 months for them to rule on.
Guys, again, just big wins from the Supreme Court actually doing their dang job. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. Kathy Brewer, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Said, thank you, Joel. Thank you for seeing and sharing the truth. 100%, guys. What you're about to hear next, I'm going to show you this, because if this doesn't stop, if Trump doesn't clean out the deep state, then this will continue to happen, guys. This right here is one of the most worst things you could ever hear against the American people, against the people who paid into the system, the people who should be the ones being served. Listen to this, because this is what's happening when you have the Democrats in the deep state who are in charge and not actually going and putting America first.
Alone. And then after the wildfires in Maui, residents voiced concerns that every FEMA employee that they spoke with had different answers. None of them had conversations that resulted in getting assistance that was helpful or any clarity in their situations. The situation in Lahaina was so bad that 1 in 6 survivors were forced to trade sexual favors, other favors for just basic supplies. At the same time, illegal aliens were staying in luxury hotels using FEMA dollars. The Roosevelt Hotel is the one you're probably the most familiar with in New York City. They got to stay there for free on the taxpayer dime through this FEMA agency. Most of those rooms cost over $300 a night. In 2024, when Hurricane Helene devastated the Southeast, FEMA's disaster relief fund was unable to provide the necessary relief because millions of dollars had been diverted to housing and transportation for illegal aliens. Now, FEMA was supposed to show up, and yet residents reported that they saw no FEMA personnel on the ground or applying for aid on their behalf. They instead had to rely on local volunteers. Right after Helene, Hurricane Milton also hit the Southeast. It was revealed that FEMA officials in Florida ordered relief workers to skip houses that had certain campaign signs, ones that had President Trump's name on them. And the workers responsible for that horrific act of discrimination have been fired. Politics has no place in disaster relief, and it won't in the future under our watch and under President Trump's watch. The American people deserve better, and they deserve better especially in times of disaster.
Guys, this is the stuff, guys, you don't see on mainstream media. We're showing you what the heck is actually going on. But it blows my mind that this stuff happened in America. So even in America, when you have the wrong leaders, they will 100% screw over Americans to put other people's first that they're trying to get votes for. Because what you're about to hear next is finally justice is coming. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Okay, so I'll come to you in a second post on this, taking apart the deep state and using this as one of the tools. Mike, also the leak that came out about, and Brennan said today on MSNBC he has not been served with anything, but the criminal investigation of Comey and Brennan, both of these hit at the same time. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, Steve, I've been on your show. I've been on Jack's show since the Mar-a-Lago raid, constantly, hundreds of times, talking about the fact that what President Obama and Vice President Biden and Brennan and Clapper and Comey and so many others did, they politicized and weaponized law enforcement and intel agencies to go after their political enemies. They made up the Russian collusion hoax with the Steele dossier with Perkins, Coie. They lied to the FISA court. They spied on then presidential candidate Donald Trump. They continued to spy on President Donald Trump when he was in the White House. They ran constant lawfare against him. They sabotaged his first term with the Russian collusion hoax. I remember when I was in the Senate, even Senate Republicans were running around with their heads cut off because of Russian collusion. They were convinced that Trump could have been a Russian spy because of this. It hobbled his first term. They continued this lawfare against President Trump when they did the Mar-a-Lago raid to get back the declassified Crossfire hurricane records that President Trump declassified via presidential executive order the day before he left office. They brought 4 bogus indictments against President Trump. They tried to bankrupt him for non-fraud. They tried to take him off the ballot. They tried to take off his head twice when they underfunded his Secret Service, and President Biden said to put a bullseye on President Trump's head. I have been calling for accountability for this. I've been calling for a criminal probe on this, and the Justice Department, I've been doing that for years. 4,500 media hits later, we're finally going to get justice, as we've promised on your show on Jack. So I would say to Comey and Clapper and Brennan and Hillary and Biden and Obama, lawyer up, because justice is definitely coming.
Let's go! Guys, did you just hear that? Lawyer, he's literally telling them, lawyer up, because they're coming. Guys, they're starting. This is the biggest in, just when you look at whenever Biden said, oh, we need to put a bullseye on Trump. And then this happens. Now 6 agents have been issued suspensions. Guys, when somebody like Mike Davis, who is president over these organizations that are suing for justice, for the truth, then you get things like this, where it's not going away, guys. DOJ has reported that to court it is still reviewing Epstein records for possible release, Judicial Watch says. Tom Fenton over the Judicial Watch. We've got American patriots, guys, that are still fighting the fight, bringing the truth and showing everybody that we're not going to give up. We are going to bring justice to America. The people that went after Trump, Obama, Biden, the Clintons, Clapper, Comey, Brennan, all of them, they're all going to be investigated, guys. And I love it because we're showing you the receipts. This is from the actual Judicial Watch page. This said the Justice Department reports to court it is reviewing the FBI DOJ Epstein records for possible release. Guys, this is what I'm talking about. B1 Sly One, thank you so much for gifting 5 True Life News memberships. If you got a free membership from B1 Sly One, show them some love in the chat, guys. Growing the True Life News family, because what I love is that, again, it's not stopping. What you're about to see next, we are going to bring you all of the breaking news, guys. None of it. We are not holding back any of it, because if we don't bring what is actually going to happen, this will continue to happen. Listen to this.
Fox News alert, we're learning tonight 6 Secret Service agents that were connected to Trump's Butler assassination attempt have been suspended. This comes just days shy of the shooting's anniversary. The identities of the agents suspended are unknown, but sources say their roles range from supervisory positions to line-level agents. We'll continue to monitor this story and bring you any updates as they come. They're in Washington today. No, not Dr. Jill. That's still to come. Biden's personal doctor, Kevin O'Connor, finally went under oath, but he folded like Biden's beach chair. Primetime got the tape. Watch.
Dr. O'Connor, were you ever told to lie about the president's health?
On the advice of counsel, I must respectfully decline to answer based upon the physician-patient privilege and in reliance on my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. I am not a lawyer. I must follow my lawyer's advice in this matter.
Seems like a pretty simple question. Did you lie about the AutoPenn's health? Yes or no?
Ooh.
O'Connor pleaded the Fifth 14 times in 20 minutes.
I must respectfully decline to answer based on the physician-patient privilege and reliance on my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. On my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. On my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. On my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. On my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
What's O'Connor hiding? When the truth's harmless, no one hides behind the Fifth. He's got a lot to answer. Like, why did Biden take more COVID tests than cancer screenings? When did you find out about the cancer, O'Connor? Did you notice the president deteriorating? Did anyone help you write his medical report? If so, who? Dr. O'Connor swore an oath to do no harm, but the way he treated or mistreated his patient, the most important patient in the world, the president, harmed the president and the American people. And now he pleads the Fifth and runs out of the room faster than Bowman after he pulled the alarm.
Dr. O'Connor, did you take the Fifth at all points? Did you take the Fifth because you're trying to cover up what the president's state was? Is he healthy now? Was he healthy when you...
Comer couldn't believe it. He's seen more honest testimony from Hunter's business partners.
What Dr. O'Connor did today only added fuel to the fire, that there was a cover-up and that Joe Biden wasn't mentally fit to serve as president of the United States. Most people invoke the Fifth when they have criminal liability. And, that's what it would appear on the surface here.
Guys, if you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, this is the truth coming out, guys. Again, too much has happened, and a lot of people, they want to try to put it under the rug, sweep it under the rug, not ever even address it again. But if we don't address it again, then it can happen again, and we have to expose everything. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Meanwhile, Democrats are doing CPR on the cover-up. Jazzy Crockett says Biden's fine. He just stutters.
He may get fumbled up by words, but that's not anything new, and it's not anything that came with age. We know that this is someone that was born with a stutter that ultimately had to get over it. If there's anyone that I am concerned about their mental acuity, it is the current occupant.
This is the biggest cover-up in American history, and Jazzy's defense is, he is. The White House didn't just respond, they unloaded. Quote, Jasmine Crockett has the brain capacity of a jellyfish and is the last person on earth to critique anyone's mental acuity, let alone intelligence. So while Jazzy Jellyfish protects Biden's mushy brain, Primetime got our hands on a new tell-all, and it's juicy. AutoPenn's aides thought the Hoover interview was a home run. Quote, Biden's inner circle thought the Hoover interview went fine. Some aides thought the president's memory could pose a problem. Others said it was just Biden being Biden and there was no reason to worry. Biden's team was more delusional than Dr. Jill on debate night. Hollywood played their roles too. Film producer Jeffrey Katzenberg told Joe to close his eyes and pretend he's on world tour with the Stones. Quote, Jeffrey Katzenberg encouraged the president and his team to lean into age, citing the successful examples of Harrison Ford, starring in another Indiana Jones sequel, and Mick Jagger performing on a world tour.
Wow.
And remember when I told you Biden was using a cheat sheet during his Morning Joe interview? He can't do unscripted or scripted interviews. He called into Morning Joe and couldn't even read the joke someone wrote for him. Now they're admitting I was right. Biden called into MSNBC's Morning Joe and dared those who wanted him to step aside to challenge him at the convention. Some of his own staff questioned why he didn't appear on camera. The interview was hastily scheduled so that there was not enough time to set up an on-camera appearance, but it also allowed the president to read off prepared talking points, which he did for portions of the interview. James Comer was inside O'Connor's testimony, and he joins me now. All right, so Congressman, you know, they're going to say doctor-patient relationship is sacred. They're going to say executive privilege. What do you say to that?
Well, there was nothing asked in the beginning that would pertain to doctor-patient relationship. This was a question, were you ever told to falsify medical documents by for the President of the United States? And he pled the fifth. And then we asked the question, did you ever doubt his mental capacity to fulfill the duties of the presidency? And again, he pled the fifth.
Guys, Biden dog pleads fifth 14 times in 20 minutes. If this isn't the cover-up of the century of our country, why do you think that this is, like what I'm about to show you next, is because this is what Trump is planning on. If we can win enough seats, if we can win enough Senate seats, if we can win enough House seats, Trump can get over the 60 threshold in the Senate and get over a good majority in the House. Trump can do amazing things to put America first. That's why, look at this. He has instructed Texas Governor Greg Abbott to direct the legislature in a special session to run mid-decade redistricting. The goal is to pick up +2 to 4 Republican House seats for the midterms next year, guys. Trump is not playing around, because what I'm going to show you next, the new rescissions package that are in the Senate today, codifying the DOGE cuts, the DOGE checks, all that you're about to see, but it's all because Trump is able to expose all the corruption. Then people are going to trust that, okay, the Democrats are not the way to go. You redraw the districts to get more Republican seats, and then you win in a huge red wave that Trump is able to not only have the majority in the House, but in the Senate to start passing all types of bills that are America first, guys. This stuff is happening. This is like some breaking news, what I'm about to show you next. But when you see this type of stuff, all it's doing is diminishing the credibility of the Democratic Party in real time and making Trump, MAGA, be lifted up.
The only thing he answered was his name. The lawyers made clear he wasn't going to answer any questions, and he knew what we were going to ask him. All the questions you mentioned in the monologue, those were questions we prepared to ask. The witness, Dr. O'Connor, clearly wasn't going to answer any questions. You plead the fifth usually when you have criminal liability. Everyone in America knows that Joe Biden was deteriorating rapidly during that last year in the White House. And our investigation centers around the illegal use of the auto pen. The auto pen that was used to sign executive orders and pardons. The auto pen was used, we now know, on days when Joe Biden was in the White House. He couldn't even get him to sign his name. So it begs the question, did he even know what his name was being signed on? And that's the purpose of the investigation. So the doctor's not going to be cooperative. We hope that the next 9 people that we have identified and dates set to bring in will be more forthcoming, like Neera Tanden was.
You heard them, guys. 9 more people are coming. This is beautiful because Congress is finally doing their dang job of holding people accountable.
We're going to bring in that inner circle. And one thing, Jesse, that's very clear thus far in this investigation, there were very, very few people in the White House who were allowed to be around Joe Biden.
So let me ask you what the next step is, Mr. Comer. Are you able to subpoena the medical reports, his notes? If he refuses to testify, I mean, can you bring him in again? I mean, what is the next step?
Well, the next step is we're going to bring in the inner circle. Again, this is an investigation.
Right, but with O'Connor specifically, because they drag this out. You know how they drag it out. I mean, is he just going to disappear?
Well, we're going to try to get every bit of information we have. What we're finding in the Biden administration is they didn't leave very many records behind when they walked out that door. There are so many instances of documents that we've been waiting to request and now the Trump administration's in office and they can't find the records. But we're going to try to get those medical records. We're going to try to do everything we can. We're going to use every tool that we have to try to get that information. But we're going to proceed with this investigation, and we're moving very rapidly for a congressional investigation. We have 9 more interviews and depositions set up, and I think we'll get some clear answers as to who authorized the use of the auto pen and whether or not Joe Biden was mentally
Congressman,
fit.
are you suggesting that perhaps that the doctor or Biden aides absconded with documents or destroyed documents?
Well, we've seen a pattern in the Biden administration where they didn't leave very many documents behind. If I were Dr. O'Connor, I would want to come clean. I would want to defend my medical reputation. But remember, Jesse, one thing that's not been mentioned, we found Dr. O'Connor in the Biden influence peddling investigation. He was in a deal in a shady domestic scheme with Jim Biden. So not only was he the Biden's White House physician and a friend, a family friend, he was also a business partner in some of these schemes that the Bidens used to profit. These schemes, domestic and foreign schemes. So this guy's got all sorts of liability. I'm not surprised he pled the fifth, but I'm glad the American people see that there's a cover up here and they're not wanting to go on record.
All right.
Guys, such big stuff is going on because, again, too, with Kristi Noem coming out today and saying this, guys, on the screen, this is one of the most disgusting things that we've ever had to report because it's so bad for Americans. But Kristi Noem said after the Maui fires, under the Biden FEMA, 1 in 6 survivors had to trade sexual favors for basic supplies to survive. Meanwhile, illegal aliens were staying in $300 per night luxury hotels using FEMA dollars. Guys, if you appreciate, guys, you're seeing the truth. Our Trump cabinet, Trump administration is finally bringing out all this crazy, crazy stuff. Appreciate it. If you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. Karen C4, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. She said, Joel, when they release any information, we want substance, not fluff and folly like Binder Gate. That's true. We don't want to see videos. We want names, who, what, and where. We'll do our best to get you that, Karen C4. And thank you so much for the other super chat saying pleading the fifth is equal to I'm guilty as heck. Guys, show Karen some love in the chat, guys, because, again, what you're about to see next, guys, it's going in Congress right now. The DOGE and all the new things that are coming. You're about to hear about the new Social Security changes and bipartisan bill for reform, the new codifying the DOGE cuts. Guys, all this stuff right from Congress. We bring you the people who are actually in Congress speaking of this. Listen to this.
Chairman, Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy. Great to have you with us this morning, Senator. So Democrats want to scare people that millions will be kicked off Medicaid. But even if that's true, it's because they don't qualify. They could be here illegally. They could be working, but they won't work. The list goes on and on. Do you worry, though, that people will buy into this Democratic disinformation that we're hearing?
Absolutely, you have to be concerned about that. They're saying things which are not true. And you put it well. People say, oh my gosh, people will lose their Medicaid. Wait a second. If you're able-bodied, meaning you're not disabled, you don't have dependents, and you choose not to work, volunteer, or go to school 20 hours a week, you might lose your Medicaid. But I'm a doctor who worked in a public hospital for the uninsured for 20 years. When somebody works, volunteers, or goes to school, they engage in life, they're a lot healthier. Idle hands are a devil's workshop. I think the American people kind of get that. We're giving you free insurance. Why don't you do something for yourself? But the Democrats don't care about people doing something for themselves.
Yeah, good point.
No, you're absolutely right. Now the process of selling the one big, beautiful bill is the priority. So, but the work never ends for you guys. So after being put on the back burner so you can pass that bill, the Senate faces a deadline next Friday to pass the more than $9 billion in DOGE cuts, which includes cuts to foreign aid, public broadcasting like NPR, PBS. Now, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says this would poison any bipartisan goodwill in the spending talks. But I'm surprised some Republicans apparently want to keep funding for PBS. Senator, do you think this thing gets passed by next week's deadline?
I think something gets passed, and you're just going to look at it. My gosh, we're here to represent the American people. And so if all you do is just kind of write a check to do something and you don't know anything about it, then that's not good. But Congress needs to look at it. But we're going to get rid of some waste, fraud, and abuse. That's the priority. Make sure that, I like to say there's a wonderful scripture. You want to separate the wheat from the chaff. Let's get that wheat out, make sure that we use it, and the chaff, let's throw it away.
I like that. I like that. And I know you're also working on a bipartisan proposal with Virginia Senator Tim Kaine on the issue of Social Security funding. I know you're looking to set up a new funding model that would basically let the Social Security Administration to invest in the stock market to build a new funding source 75 years from now. Can you walk us through that plan? And would that also allow young people to invest their Social Security in stocks for a better return on investment?
Guys, what you're about to hear next, guys, this is so big for Social Security because, again, right now, the way that things have been done with Social Security, we have found out that, up to almost 4 million illegals were given Social Security numbers. People have dipped their hands in Social Security to pull out and pay for other things, and it is horrible. But this right here would literally change everything, bring such massive increases, bring big wins for those on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, anybody, any form of Social Security. And this is what a bipartisan bill they're pushing forward to get done to take care of American people.
Well, that second part's not part of our plan, although it's not a bad idea, but it's not part of our plan. What our idea does is it says, wait a second, Social Security is going insolvent in 8 years. When that happens, there'll be a 20 to 25% benefit cut for people on social, people who will be. What we do is we set up a fund separate from the trust fund, and we put $1.5 trillion in it and allow that to grow with the American economy. And the power of the American economy takes that initial $1.5 trillion and in nominal dollars takes it to like $670 trillion over the next 70 years. That will avoid any benefit cuts. It'll pay for additional benefits for some Americans.
Yes.
And it will pay off any debt that we have, 85% of any debt we have. It's what you do with your 401k. Let's use the power of the American economy for the benefit of Social Security beneficiaries. That's the goal of the bill.
All right.
And one of the key provisions is it doesn't change any benefits for current recipients because that's how people fearmonger about Social Security.
Yeah.
We actually increase benefits for some. And by the way, people say, well, what if the...
You hear that, guys? I told you we bring the receipts, the stuff that they're working on, the bills, the bipartisan bills, the increases, guys, you just heard it. Increases for some, guys. They are working. Trump with the External Revenue Service, with the DOGE cuts, with cutting all the illegals out of taxpayer benefits. This is the stuff that is bringing to life what we've been telling you on this channel. We're seeing all this behind the scenes. Now we're showing you the lawmakers that are actually working on it, that it's gaining traction. This is such good news for everybody because, again, too, we want to take care of Americans, put them first.
Market goes down. No, the beneficiary gets her promised benefits. And if the market goes down, it's just kind of absorbed. But when you invest over 70 years, you got a lot of time to absorb and for things to come back.
I want to turn, while we have you here, because I know you're a physician as well, to Dr. Kevin O'Connor, the former White House physician for Joe Biden, really just pleading the fifth throughout his hearing yesterday, didn't really answer anything. What did you make of this?
I'm not quite sure why he pleaded the fifth. He could just say it's a patient-doctor privileged information. The fifth sounds like he's guilty. But by the way, anyone that saw that debate between Trump and Biden, where Biden's just babbling away, and Trump goes, he doesn't know what he said, I don't know what he said, you don't know what he said. He's pretty clear he was senile. And by the way, it was pretty clear that process had begun sometime before. And it's also pretty clear there was a conspiracy of the mainstream media to hide the fact. And that's been exposed now. So I don't need the doctor to say it.
Guys, again, this type of stuff, everybody is coming out and saying, you know what? This right here is one of the biggest scandals, cover-ups in American history, when this Biden literally took and pleaded the fifth 14 times in 20 minutes, guys. And then what I love is we always got to, I love showing you my boy Scott Jennings, who comes in and just literally hammers the truth when it comes to all the people that shouldn't be on the system, get all the illegals, all the able-bodied people out, brings the common sense. Guys, if you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, check this out.
I think his political analysis is wrong. I don't think it's unpopular at all to try to reform an entitlement program, to save it for the people who need it, to keep illegal aliens from getting welfare benefits they shouldn't be getting, to encourage people to go to work. I don't think these things should be shied away from by Republicans.
None of that is true. First of all, I think Medicaid
It's exactly true. It's exactly what's in the bill.
Federal law prohibits undocumented immigrants
Then why are
from receiving Medicaid
1.4 million
benefits.
on it? Why are
That's a
1.4
figment of your
million?
imagination.
It's a figment of the CBO's documents.
Let me explain the facts
It's in the
to you.
CBO documents.
I'll explain the facts.
Is it or not?
Let me explain. It's not.
Guys, it's in the CBO documents. They literally release these reports, but yet this is how the left literally will lie on their mainstream media to try and get people to not see the truth.
Actually,
no, you are lying.
No, that is not. It is
He
not.
just said you're lying.
Hang on a
You're
second.
inventing facts out of thin air.
All right.
So Medicaid is.
Hold on, guys.
Medicaid.
Look at this right here. This is the CBO estimates. About 1.4 million people would be people who do not meet citizenship and immigration status requirements for Medicaid. Guys, you can't make this stuff up. The left, we showed you that that congressional people are legally allowed to lie on the floor of Congress as well as in debates. They're protected by a law that they created. And then that's why what you're about to see next, guys, the DOGE cuts are coming. Everything that we've been showing you about bringing more to American people is winning big time. Listen to this.
I have listened. I've been here 8 years, Mr. President, and I've listened to a whole bunch of people talk about the need to reduce spending. But you got to watch what people do, not what they say, because talk is cheap.
Boom.
And around here, I've learned pretty quickly that reducing spending, it's like going to heaven. I want to go to heaven. I bet you want to go to heaven, Mr. President. I bet our guests in the gallery want to go to heaven. But everybody wants to go to heaven. Raise your hand if you're ready to take the trip today. Most people, you are, sir, and I admire that. But most people want to live a little longer. And that's the way it is with reducing spending around here. I want to reduce spending. I support it, but not just yet, because I've got this project. Well, and I've listened to that. And I've especially listened to it for the past 100 days. Go get them, President Trump. Reduce that spending. We're behind you 1,000%. Well, he has. He has. 0.1% he's asking us to reduce. And I'm not saying senators shouldn't ask questions and make some changes if they need to be made, but here's the bottom line. It is gut check time. It is gut check time. You either believe in reducing spending or you don't. And if you talk the game and say, let's reduce spending, and you vote against this bill, in my opinion, you ought to hide your head in a bag. Because you will be able to cut the hypocrisy with a knife. It's real hard, Mr. President, to preach temperance from a bar stool. It's gut check time. We need to pass this bill. Let me say another word quickly about the reconciliation bill. You're going to hear so much about this, Mr. President. I've already heard a lot that the reconciliation bill that Congress passed it's going to kill people. People are going to die. It's only going to help rich people. None of that's true. None of that's true. The bill that we just passed is primarily a tax cut. And taxes are not terribly complicated. When you tax something, you get less of it. Right? You want to stop people wearing wristwatches? I love wristwatches. I've had this one for like 30 years. But you want to stop people from buying wristwatches? Just pass a bill and says every time you buy a wristwatch, you have to pay a $200 tax. Boy, that's going to be the end of wristwatches. Business is the same way. You want businesses not to expand? Tax the hell out of them so they don't have any money to reinvest in their business. You want people to work less? Tax them. Take all their money. People are rational. They'll go, well, why do I want to work an extra 10 hours this week? They're taxing me. The government's going to take all of my money. So our bill was a tax cut bill. That's all it was. We passed a tax cut back in 2017, as you know, Mr. President. Those tax cuts would have expired at the end of this year. If we hadn't passed this bill, taxes on the American people would have gone up $4.3 trillion. Not billion, $4.3 trillion. It would have tanked our economy. Our economy would have gone down like a fat guy on a seesaw. And some of my friends say, oh, you cut taxes on the rich. That's not true. That's just a lie. I mean, well over half of the tax cuts that we extended go to ordinary Americans. Working people, working moms, working dads. So the first thing we did was extend the tax cuts. We avoided $4.3 trillion worth of taxes. And frankly, everybody who voted against our bill voted to raise taxes on the American people in the amount of $4.3 trillion. That's just a fact. Our bill did some other things, though. We added some new tax cuts. We cut taxes on tips. Now, not everybody who works for tips is going to get a tax cut, but most people are. We cut taxes on overtime. Most ordinary Americans work overtime. We cut their taxes on overtime. We cut taxes on Social Security income. We cut taxes on some car loans. We extended the child tax credit. $2,200 for every child. That's important for most Americans. We increased the standard deduction. We strengthened Medicaid. One of the things we did, there's this rhetoric, it's really a lie, but I'll call it rhetoric going around.
Guys, and I hope you appreciate this, guys, because remember, it's one thing to show you something from the news. It's another thing to show you something from somebody that we trust who is literally in Congress over the changes, over what's going on, over what changes are happening. And I hope you appreciate this. Donald55MC, thank you so much, brother, for the super chat. Let's go. He said, love your passion for the truth. Keep up the great work. Guys, y'all show Donald some love in the chat, guys. This is 100%, guys, us doing everything that we can to bring you the truth. Because again, too, just even like this, with what he's about to say next, breaking, U.S. inflation index drops to 1.66%. Jerome Powell is expected to resign and be removed any day, any moment now. They're going to cut interest rates. People are going to be able to buy more homes, buy more cars, get loans, small businesses. Everything is about to explode in America for what I'm showing you because of this big, beautiful bill, but also, too, because Trump knows what the heck he's doing. As a businessman, he had the economy roaring in the first term, but he still fought all the lawfare. Now, he's not fighting that same lawfare anymore. Now, he's just executing his agenda with the dream team. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, because it just keeps getting better.
They're destroyed Medicaid. Medicaid's going to grow under our bill. It's just not going to grow as fast as it was. But 10 years from now, we'll be spending a minimum 20% more on Medicaid. Not less, more. You know the biggest change we made to Medicaid? Work requirement. Now, the American people are the most compassionate people in the world. If you're hungry, we'll feed you. If you're homeless, we'll house you. If you're too poor to be sick, we'll pay for your doctor. We're generous people. But those who can work should work. And we've got some people on Medicaid who are perfectly healthy. They're not disabled. They don't have young kids at home. I'm not talking about a mom with a sick child in her arms. They don't have minor children at home. They just don't want to work. They want to get Medicaid, but they don't want to work. Those who can't work should work. And all our bill does is say, look, you can still keep your Medicaid, but if you can work, not if you're disabled, not if you're elderly, not if you're in a nursing home, if you're a healthy adult at home playing video games, you got to go look for a job. And you got to work at least 20 hours a week. Not 40 hours a week, 20 hours a week. What's unreasonable about that? The other change, major change we made to Medicaid was some people, not most people, but some people when they sign up for Medicaid, they lie. They say, I'm only making $25,000 a year. Well, in fact, they might be making $75,000 or $100,000 a year. I'm not exaggerating. I've seen that happen. What we've told the states is twice a year for all of our folks on Medicaid, you got to check their eligibility. Make sure that they're not making more than they're supposed to, because Medicaid is not for everybody. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with saying to people, you're not entitled to Medicaid if you're not eligible? What's unreasonable about that? We're not killing people. We're trying to save Medicaid so that we can afford it for people who really need it. The other two things this bill did, and then I'll move on quickly to my other subject. It provided more money for border enforcement. Now, I know there are many people in America and there are many people in the Senate who believe in open borders. I respect that. They may not say it, but they do. They just think the border ought to be wide open, and they think that if you believe in secure borders, you're a racist. I don't agree with them, but this is America. They're entitled to their opinion. Most Americans don't think that.
Not at all.
Most Americans want the border to be secure.
Yes.
They want to know who's coming in and out of their country. And this bill is going to provide the money to do that. The other part of our bill, as you know, Mr. President, provides much needed money for our military. Because we live in a dangerous world, and I wish we didn't, but we do. And weakness invites the wolves.
Guys, and again, too, it goes back to the building the Golden Dome, protecting America. Guys, again, people are turning like crazy. I promise you, never, ever would we have thought that we would be reporting to you that John Kerry would be agreeing and saying that Trump was right about the border crisis. Guys, this just shows you that people are scared right now, and they are fearful on the left of Trump coming after everybody, and they want to get on his good side. Because what I'm about to show you next, guys, again, if the wins they're just piling in. We're showing you all the receipts, and then especially the people that wanted illegals to come in now are just changing their tune. A lot of them are, because they're saying, oh, you're right. We had bad data. We didn't know as many were coming in. All a bunch of lies. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But what I love is that we are showing you the truth. Listen to this.
Insane bill being pushed by Democrats is Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri. Senator, you and I have talked about this. I mean, remember when they wanted those poor little toddlers on the planes, with their bibs? They had to have the masks on. The kids were pulling them off, and Democrats like, you mask up, little Johnny. But now they don't like masks when they're actually protecting the families of these ICE agents.
Yeah, I remember it really well, Laura, because my kids were some of those toddlers on the planes, and I still remember being threatened with expulsion from the plane permanently unless my kid, my 3-year-old, my 4-year-old, kept the mask on his face. I mean, these people wanted to solder the masks on our children permanently, so you could never take them off. They have no problem with the Antifa losers wearing masks all the time on campuses and everywhere else, but if you're operating with the badge, oh no, now you're enemy number one. You shouldn't be able to protect yourself and your family. It's exactly backwards, Laura. We ought to say when you have the badge on, you are operating to protect all of us. You represent all of us. You ought to get all of the protection that you can possibly have. If you're a looter or a rioter, you don't have any right to be anonymous. You ought to be prosecuted as usual. Democrats are on the side of the criminals, not on the side of the American people.
Now, someone like a Cory Booker, who has been reasonable in the past on some issues. I mean, he's had his moments, but I mean, you can actually have a conversation with Cory Booker. What is he thinking here, do you think? Because to me, this seems like political suicide for the Democrats. Most Americans want every single illegal out of this country. They don't want exceptions. They don't want carve-outs for hospitality or carve-outs for farm workers, sorry. They want them all gone, bye-bye, and then you can reapply later, maybe. But, so what's Booker thinking about here?
Everything. I agree with everything you just said, by the way, about what Americans want. I think that is 100% accurate. But the Democrats, you got to remember, their base now, Laura, their base are increasingly illegals, criminals, and people who love criminals. Look at the LA riots. The Democrats are out there cheering them on. Here you've got these rioters burning cars, blowing up stuff, and waving the Mexican flag. And the Democrats are saying, oh, peaceful protest, this is wonderful, keep it up. I think they are so out of touch with the American people. They've become the party of crime and lawlessness. We're the party of law and order. They're the party of the criminals and the illegal element. And that is who they represent. That's who votes for them. And you see them responding to it now. Again, it is exactly backward, totally upside down.
Well, and I think Americans watching tonight are shocked to learn that this group, CHIRLA, the Committee for Humane Immigrant Rights, I'm probably botching it, but it basically captures it, that at one point they received $34 million in federal grant money. Now, they're all over the protests, government grant money, but they're all over these protests. They support the protests and so forth. Some of them have turned violent. You know, I'm not trying to make a direct connection here, but why are these groups getting so much money, and why is that a good use of taxpayer dollars, whether it's state, local, or federal?
They're getting so much money because the Democrats have turned the nonprofit world and these government grants into a huge money laundering operation. That's why. And that's why the work that the Trump administration has done on exposing USAID, all of these other nonprofits that are taking taxpayer money, laundering it through into, frankly, illegal activities, as we're seeing with these riots. It's also why, Laura, we need to follow that money for all of these rioters, for all of this civil unrest that's going on. I mean, it's really not even civil, it's criminal unrest that's going on. We need to know who's funding it, where is it coming from. There's nothing that the Department of Justice is doing right now that is more important than getting a read on this money, finding out who is using it, who is pouring it into all of these illegal groups, and we've got to stop the government funding of all of it. Turn off the money spigots.
Now, guys, I'm telling you, like, there's just some people. You got Josh Hawley, you got Marjorie Taylor Greene, you got Senator John Kennedy, who are pit bulls who, when you hear them talk, it's all about cleaning up America, putting America first. These are the people that I want to see as Speaker of the House. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because Johnson, I don't see it. It just doesn't resonate. I've never seen him have that boldness to actually say, look, we know it's happening. There's evidence of it happening, and we need to clean it up. Fred Samuel, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go, brother. Said do something, no more free rides on the taxpayer dime, 100%. And thank you so much, Barry Myers, for the super chat. Said, let's go, Alice. Y'all show Barry and Fred some love in the chat.
An online fundraiser, Senator, that is purportedly being used to raise funds for the 10 arrested ICE attackers in Texas. Now, it only has about, $9 grand in it so far, but the description of this fundraiser says those currently face serious charges aimed not only at ruining their lives, but signaling an authoritarian criminalization of dissent and protest against ICE. Now, this is one account on Give, Send, Go, but what does this tell you about where the mindset is of some of these rabid ideologues in the Democrat Party?
Well, it tells me it's been completely overtaken by a bunch of Marxist gobbledygook. I mean, what you just read there and showed on screen is absurd. I mean, anybody with a brain looks at that and is like, are you kidding me? But once again, today's Democrat Party has been captured by these loonies. I mean, they've really become the party of the mentally unstable lunatics. And this is why it is absolutely vital we get back to law and order. What the president is doing here is just the right thing, whether it was calling out the guard in LA, whether it's protecting those who wear the badge now, turning off the money from all of these nonprofits who are laundering it, turning off the taxpayer funding. We've got to put a stop to all of this. This is the time to root out the rot, expose it, tear it out of our government, tear it out of our system, and expose these people for the criminals that they are.
And at the same time, Senator, we have American corporations that are firing American workers and seemingly replacing them with foreign workers. Microsoft just laid off about 9,000 employees after applying to fill thousands of foreign worker positions in the months leading up to these mass layoffs. This is just more abuse of this H-1B visa program that I have been covering I probably think I've been covering this for 20 years. But it's getting worse. And President Trump has to understand that talk about an existential threat to America first, replacing every American worker with a cheap foreign laborer.
Oh, that's exactly what these mega corporations want, and you're absolutely right. This is incredibly abusive, and we've got to stop it. These corporations, I can choose another one. Take Tyson, for example. These corporations outsource American jobs, shut down American plants, and then they not only bring in foreign workers, they use illegals, they use illegal child labor. They're the worst. You can't trust them to do anything. We've got to get back to enforcing the law, number one, and protecting American workers born and raised here in this country, or legal workers who are here legitimately. What we should not be doing is inviting more foreign workers to come over here and to take our jobs. And by the way, drive down wages. That's the other thing, Laura, is a lot of time the wage differential is the foreign worker gets paid less, which means the corporations save money. We need to protect American workers and get higher
every time,
wages.
Senator, I'm sorry to interrupt. Every time I hear one of these tech CEOs claiming, we can't find workers, and I say, what are you paying them? I mean, the idea that Americans aren't graduating engineers, first of all, why would we ever encourage anyone to go into engineering if the kid graduates and knows he's going to be replaced by a Singaporean engineer, an Indian engineer, a Chinese engineer that'll work for, 20% of the same rate, or he's not going to get hired at all. So we're killing off our high-tech worker base by importing all these workers, and we have no one to blame but ourselves. Final word.
Yeah, exactly right. And listen, these tech CEOs have said for years, we just can't find the talent in America. Give me a break. We've got gobs of talent. They don't want to pay. They want the cheap labor. They want the slave labor. They need to start paying up and start treating their workers right.
Senator, thank you as always. Music to my ears.
Guys, so much is changing right now. I just want to show you this again, too, because we're keeping up with the news. Judicial Watch said that the Justice Department reports to court it is reviewing FBI DOJ Epstein records for possible release. Remember, Judicial Watch, headed by Tom Fitton, is suing the Justice Department to make sure that America gets transparency, guys. I don't know what's going on with Pam Bondi and all them, but I love it that we have amazing people that are still fighting to get the truth. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, and want to say thank you to everybody, guys, who is watching, to all of our subscribers and viewers. We could not do it without you. We are truly grateful that you support us. We just want to bring the truth to you every single day. And if you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button so that we can serve you every day with the top news. So much is going on, guys. History in the making, but we want to bring the receipts. We want to bring you the truth and help you so that you know what the heck is truly going on. I want to say thank you to everybody that is a member of the channel. Those that have given a super chat donation, guys, we appreciate you so much. Remember, this money goes towards local charities. We, on the 22nd of every single month, we donate this money. We donate it live on stream, and we have given in 9 months almost $40,000 live on stream, guys, and it means so much to us that you support us. Want to give some special love to Kathy Brewer, B1 Sly One for gifting 5 TrueLife News memberships, Karen C4, Donald 55MC, Fred Samuel, Barry Myers, Pootie Poot. Welcome to the family. Guys, y'all show them some love in the chat. Thank you so much for liking our videos, sharing our videos. We are here to serve you. We love you, appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.